Let's be honest, when you hear the words Buddhist miracles, your mind probably jumps straight to monks levitating or reading people's thoughts, right? But what if I told you the Buddha himself found those kinds of powers, well, kind of distasteful, even disgusting? Today, we're going to dive into the surprising truth about what a real miracle is in Buddhism, and trust me, it's not what you think.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll touch on what most of us imagine when we think of miracles. Then, we're going to explore what the Buddha called the two worldly miracles. But then, and this is where it gets really interesting, we'll see why he was so strongly against them. And that's going to lead us to the one miracle he truly believed in. We'll wrap it all up by understanding why this one big idea changes absolutely everything.
All right, let's dive right in. Section 1. What are Buddhist miracles? Let's make sure we're all on the same page about what we're even talking about here.
Yeah, it's almost always these incredible, supernatural feats. Flying through the air, walking through solid walls, knowing exactly what somebody else is thinking. These are the things that just capture our imagination. And to be totally clear, this stuff does show up in the Buddhist texts. But as you're about to see, that's not even close to the whole story.
So, it turns out Buddhism actually has a specific classification for these kinds of abilities. They're known as the two worldly miracles. Let's break them down.
The first one is called Idipatiharya. This basically translates to the miracle of psychic power. Think of it as being able to manipulate the physical world around you, literally bending the laws of physics with just your mind.
And the examples are straight out of a superhero movie. We're talking about making yourself appear as many people walking straight through a solid mountain, strolling across water, diving into the earth like it's a swimming pool, flying, and even touching the sun and the moon. I mean, these are just incredible feats of power.
All right, so the second worldly miracle is called Adesana Patiharya. And this one is basically the miracle of mind reading. It's pure telepathy, the power to know exactly what's going on inside someone else's head.
And get this, it's not just about reading human minds. The texts say this ability extends to animals and even to divine beings or deities. A master of this could know what you're thinking, what some god is thinking, or even the precise level of someone else's meditative focus. Pretty wild, right?
But here is the huge twist. The Buddha put both of these amazing powers into a category of miracles for the Puthujjana. That's a word for just ordinary, unenlightened folks like you and me. This is a massive clue that these flashy, impressive powers aren't the main event, not by a long shot.
Which brings us to our next part, because this is where the whole story takes a really surprising turn. You see, the Buddha didn't just downplay these miracles. He had this incredibly negative, almost visceral reaction to them.
And just listen to the language used in the original texts to describe how he felt about them. It says he was cramped, disgusted, and hated these worldly miracles. Wow. I mean, those are incredibly strong words. This isn't just mild disapproval. It's a full-on, powerful rejection.
So why such a strong feeling? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. Because all these psychic powers and mind-reading tricks, they just don't lead to the end of suffering. They can be huge distractions, they can be massive ego traps, and at the end of the day, they don't solve the fundamental problem of being human.
Think about it like this. According to the teachings, you could master levitation, you could master telepathy, you could get all the fame and followers in the world because of it, and still be so full of anger or greed that you end up getting reborn in a hell realm. The powers are totally separate from your inner purity.
So, this brings us to the real heart of it. If flying and mind reading aren't the real miracles, then what is? Well, the Buddha offered a third and way more profound miracle. He called it Anusasani Patiharya. You can think of it as the noble miracle. And this one has nothing to do with controlling the world outside of you. It's the miracle of transforming the world inside of you. It's the miracle of instruction, a deep, systematic training of your own mind.
So, how does that actually work? It's about training your perception to be in perfect balance. It's about looking at something we'd call foul or disgusting and not feeling any aversion. And then looking at something not foul, something beautiful and desirable, and not feeling any craving. The goal is to develop this incredibly powerful mental state of equanimity, or upekkha, a mind that is so stable it can observe absolutely anything without getting hooked by it, stopping suffering before it even begins.
And look, understanding this difference isn't just a fun fact, it's everything. It completely reorients the entire spiritual journey away from chasing external power and toward achieving internal freedom.
Let's just put them side by side.
On one hand, you have the worldly miracles. Their goal is power and influence, and they're for ordinary people. But the result? You're still stuck in the cycle of rebirth. On the other hand, you have the noble miracle. Its goal is total liberation from all suffering. It's the practice of the noble ones, the Arya, and its result is true, unshakable freedom.
So when you boil it all down, the ultimate goal isn't to control the world outside of you. The real power, the real miracle, is to master the world within you. That is where you find real freedom.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What do you think is the truer miracle? To be able to walk on water, or to be able to walk through your entire life completely free from the poisons of greed and hatred?